Hey guys, this is Steve with TronicsFix. Today we're looking at an Xbox One S. We're looking at a replacement aftermarket fan since so many people are having problems with the original fan on the Xbox One S. We're working on finding the best replacement aftermarket fan. So let's take a look and see what we found so far. So far what we've done on the Xbox One S for the fan noise problem is we've tried several things. The first thing we've tried is lubricating the bearings. So we've got this precision instrument oil that we've used to lubricate bearings on the Xbox One S, and we found that that didn't really seem to fix any of the bearing noise that we had, at least. It's possible that it'll fix your noise problem, so I'll make sure and link it up in the description below in case you want to try that. We've also tried new bearings. Now we have bearings for the Xbox One S fan that are tiny bearings but brand new. The bearings we put in, they seem to work just fine. They didn't reduce the noise, you know, to zero, but they did seem to reduce the noise a little bit. So that's also an option, is possibly replacing the bearings. We'll also put a link to these bearings in the description below. What I've really wanted to try and figure out though is there an aftermarket fan that will work as well or better as the stock original Xbox One S fan? Now the size of this fan is 120 millimeters, and you just have to be careful not to get one that's too thick, that sticks up too much and stuff like that. And you also need to make sure that it rotates correctly, and you also need to make sure that it's a PWM fan. Now PWM stands for pulse width modulation. That's how the motherboard will control the fan. It'll send small pulses of power basically to the fan. It just does it very quickly, and if the Xbox One starts getting hot, then it'll send faster, longer pulses, whereas when it starts to cool down, it'll send shorter. So the first one we tried was this Corsair Fan. We got it off of Amazon. It mostly hooked up fine, and the only problem we had was that it wouldn't turn off. So the wiring on this fan is not set up in a way that it will plug into the Xbox One S motherboard correctly. So we probably could figure it out if we really wanted to. But in this case, we want to find a fan that's just kind of plug and play, that you don't have to do any changing the pins around or anything like that. So where we are now is we have the Be Quiet Silent Wings 3 fan. And so far, this fan is working well. We've found that it works best to get an adapter that goes from the connector on the motherboard directly into the wiring harness for the fan, because the connector on the fan is different than what's on the motherboard. So you either have to do some splicing, or I think the best thing I would recommend is just getting this adapter, and I will also link that up in the description below so you can do that if you'd like to. The only thing that we're not sure on this fan so far about is whether the pulse width modulation, the PWM part, is working or not. I've taken it and I've played some games on it, and so far it's cooling fine, it's not overheating. The part I don't know is whether the motherboard will control it to make the fan spin faster once it gets hotter. I've tried playing a game for a few minutes, I don't know, probably 20-30 minutes, and the fan just stayed at a constant speed. So that's going to be the next thing we're going to test, and once we complete that test, then I will update you guys with another video. Okay, as you can see, the fan is working fine. I don't have it attached to the heatsink. That's another thing that we'll have to figure out as we could get this project complete, but I haven't done that yet. But you can see the fan is spinning just fine, so there's no problems there. And as I said, the main thing is just whether this fan is going to start spinning faster as the Xbox One S heats up. So I'm going to turn this off now. One of the nice things about this fan so far is when you turn it off, it does go off normally. When you turn it on, it does come on normally. That's one thing about the Corsair fan that did not work correctly when we installed that fan into this console. So I'm going to remove the cables in the back just to make sure the Xbox is completely turned off. And then I'm going to remove this fan out of here. And you can see this cable is very long, and it may be something that we need to trim the cable up. I'm not completely sure, but we're not to the stage where we need to mount it in here yet, so I'm not quite ready for that. Now what I'm going to do is I'll show you. This is the adapter, and it goes from the connector on the motherboard, and then this connector goes right into the fan connector. Now, if you guys do decide to get this fan, like I said, we haven't completely tested it yet, but this part of the fan, this label needs to be faced up. That ensures that the fan blades are spinning correctly when it is turned on. So the other thing is just gonna be, we have all this cable here. You know, there may be an option to wrap it around and zip tie it, something like that. I'm not sure how we're gonna manage that cable. And then the other thing too is how to mount this fan. There is some tabs here, so we may be able to do some zip ties or some other mounting techniques, but we won't get to that quite yet. I do need to finish testing this and make sure that it does work how it's supposed to 100%. So that's where we are with our Xbox One S fan project. Let me know in the comments how your guys' Xbox One S is doing, whether you still have fan noise, whether the fan noise is getting worse. Also, anyone who wants to send in their Xbox One S to TronicsFix for a fan noise fix, I will offer one free fix for whoever sends it in so I can make a video about it. So if you guys want to do that, just contact me in the comments or go to TronicsFix.com, use the contact form there and let me know and we'll make it happen. Thanks again for watching.